Hello guys, welcome to Strolling Wise Minds. This is Kanish Pandey. Today we have a very special guest on our podcast. He is Mr. Ayush Krishna. He'll be joining IIM Calcutta this year for the class of 2020-22, and he's a pass out from IIT Lucknow. Let's hear out from him, and he's kind enough to join in for the discussion regarding the preparation, the CAT preparation, how to join the B schools. So hello Ayush, over to you.
Yeah, hi Kanishk and hello everyone. My name is Ayush Krishna and I am pursuing my MBA from Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta. And I got into IIM Calcutta like this year only, and I have been studying for like the 2 months now. And I did my BTech in 2020 from IIT Lucknow, which is a part of AKTU. And apart from that, I have been a part of 2 startup ventures while in college. So these things define my personality as of now. And yeah.
Okay, that's a very great profile actually, Ayush. And the next, we start with the interview for now. The first roll of questions is Ayush, there's a very prevalent myth in the MBA business is that this engineering and MBA are not interlinked; they're completely orthogonal, and it's pretty irrational to do an MBA after the engineer. It's not real, but it's a myth that's been prevailing around. So, what's your take on that?
Okay, so to that I would first like to say that this is indeed a myth because engineering is very much related to one's development as a whole and which goes into doing an MBA. For example, engineering teaches us skills like time management and resource management and to develop ourselves into disciplined persons, and that all goes into developing into a good professional who does pursue management education. So in that regard, engineering is very much linked to an MBA. Apart from that, another angle would be that engineering teaches you the technical side of things. So you are well versed with how a company works in terms of the manufacturing part or the production part. But then an MBA goes on to teach you about how to run the company as a whole and how to manage its finances, its marketing, its operations. So in those two manners, when an engineer does an MBA, he becomes a complete professional who is able to understand the company in and out. And that is why he is considered an asset for the company. So this myth is quite a myth and you should not be following this. Nobody should be following this myth because it only hampers your preparation as you go along for a CAT preparation, you go along for your CAT.
Yeah, that's very great explanation from that side. Okay, the next question is, unlike the JEE preparation in the 12th class, we have another preparation called CAT, and there's another small element called the profile in it. And we actually neglect the profile many of the students. So because they're confused actually what is a profile? Is that the academic part? Is that the co-curricular part? What's a profile and how to create our own story and our own profile that we'll be having a very good chance of converting the B school interviews after we get it. So yeah, over to you, Ayush.
Okay, so there are two cases. Either one has a work experience or he's a fresher. So considering the fresher part first, so when one is in his engineering or any graduation for that matter, he is like either towards activities or not. Either he is towards academics or not. So both of these people can get into top B schools. The reason being that the interviews do not ask for like big spikes in your profile. They ask only for a genuine story and why do you want to get into an MBA. So if you are able to convince them that you have been doing these things so far, you have been trying to volunteer for events and taking part in such things, and that all is because you wanted to pursue an education and management from a top B school, and that you have a story to tell. I think that works well. And also if one has a good work experience, so that is like a boon in this case, because then you have a lot of talking points in terms of your work experience, your company, your contribution to the job, those things. So a profile again is not a very big thing while getting into an MBA, because the interviewer just needs to listen to a story and that he needs to get convinced. If you are able to do that by talking about your project or talking about your hometown even for that matter, it all works long as you are able to tell him a story. And such stories are not crafted, they have to be real stories because those are real smart people. So you have to tell them a real story about yourself, that you participated here, you did this, you are motivated by these things in your life, and you see this as your goal. Like, I want to pursue MBA because I have inclination towards startups and I want to work in the e-commerce industry, those things. So in that manner you have to tell them a story. That is more of a profile before getting into an MBA. After getting into MBA, it's a whole new story, and which should be something we talk for some other day.
enough of the talk after the CAT preparation. The main business goes around before the CAT preparation, like how to prepare for such a tough examination. And talking about engineers primarily, so that's the majority of our audience, is that there's a lot of things going around in engineering. It's the most rigorous course we can find in India. Okay, so there's like semester exams, mid-sem, end-sem, major project, placement, coding, everything is going around. So how come you have, what's the placement structure? What's the preparation structure for this CAT? How come you prepare for CAT? And what was your strategy? When did you start? Like, if you could just enlighten us with all that information.
Okay. So see, I was studying in an average government institution during my BTech, and I was fortunate enough to be in a good city, which is Lucknow, because it had like good access to coaching institutions and like online materials as well. So for that matter, I started my preparation during my third year of BTech, and like it took me almost 14-15 months to get fully prepared for taking the CAT. And the strategy, first I'd like to tell you about my schedule in a nutshell. So it involves like, oh, you go to college for the morning part of your day and you are back by evening like 3 or 4. After that you have 1 hour 2 hours to rest, and then you have your classes. So I used to go to my classes after that in the evening, and then it's just 2 hours of classes. It's not a lot of hours that you have to put in terms of doing classes. And then it's all upon you, like you have to then prioritize if you have to work for your project or work for your classes or work for your college studies. So there are days when one has to like sacrifice his classes work or his college work to do the other thing. But then it's a game of time management, because anyways you are going to be MBAs and you have to be doing management of time for all your life from now on. So one has to start early in this case, and like like one starts early in this case, right? And he has to like manage his resources well. Like if you manage to get up at 5 a.m. in the morning, you have 3-4 extra hours than other people who wake up at 9. So that is something that you can do. And then for the placements part, so see, a placements is a process of developing yourself into a better professional only. So if somebody is doing his BTech from branches like computer science or such core branches which offer placements in good colleges, so then he should, I believe that he should go for them. He should try at least to get a job in the campus placements. But then you have to again see to it that do not put too much time and effort to it, because if you are like sailing on two boats, then you are bound to get drowned. So I believe that one should not have a plan B, but then it's good to have a small backup in case you do not get to score very good in the CAT. So that is the thing. But then placements are also a help, and CAT prep also is a help to the placement, because you learn concepts like reasoning and aptitude and verbal communication. So all of those help in placements as well. Like in my case, I prepared for CAT for the last 10-12 months, and then I had my campus placements, and wherein they asked a comparatively easier paper of DILR. So it was not so difficult for me, and I was able to easily crack that paper. And then it was a telephonic interview. So these things also help you in developing yourself. And then also one should go for placements, because he then gets a good talking point in the profile that he has in the interview. So given that the person is a fresher, he should try for placements, but then like try to balance those two things and not get too inclined towards preparing for the job and then ignoring the CAT preparation.
Okay, that's actually very helpful. So the next thing is this Corona thing has hampered everything on the planet. But for someone who's spending like 25 lakhs on his education, it's very disheartening to not be able to go to such a nice campus which has 5 lakes in it. So maybe we feel you, but the thing is, could you share that with us? How is the online MBA experience? Is that enlightening, or is it very awful or something?
Okay, right. So I'd like to first correct you on two things. There are 7 lakes in Joka, and the fee structure is 27 lakhs. And going forward, so see, the online experience is obviously not so great, because we are supposed to learn from our peers, from our professors during the night canteens, and maybe spend all night long while preparing for projects or assignments, and we are expected to do those things. And then while studying online, it all becomes so tough, because many of our batchmates do not have proper internet connectivity, and many do not have such good working laptops or such infrastructure that they can be connected all the time to each one of us. Also, there is a lot of interaction, like hampering of quality of interaction that we have with our peers. This all is a damaging part of the online experience, but then since we cannot help it, the situation is what it is. So the way forward is to like make the most out of it. Like, we are able to get recorded lectures of our professors, so we can visit them anytime and then clear our concepts. And apart from that, we are getting record like books delivered to our home addresses by top B schools, that like they are doing this, they are delivering books in hard copies to our homes. So these are the few positive things. Apart from that, praying again that this all gets normal back soon. I believe that the batch of my year is stuck in the situation, but I think we are stronger than the situation and we will be able to come out fairly well.
Yeah, sure. That's very brave of you. But the next thing is, how did this online thing is hampering the CAT preparation? So the people who are preparing for CAT, the question arises is that is 2020 the right year to take CAT? Like, is it?
Okay, so 2020 is the best year to take CAT, I would say, because see, a lot of people who are your competitors who are preparing have received a setback in the preparation, because most of the people have stopped studying, and because they are not able to cope with the pressure, like sitting at home and studying for such long hours and those things. But that kept aside, if one gets into an IIM this year, like in 2021, so he is inside a protected case for the next 2 years of the market that we have. Like right now, when you see the market, it's all doubtful in terms of placements. So if one gets into a good B school in these years and he's able to get out when everything is back to normal, so then we are forecasting a market which is ready to accept talented people. So this year, who takes CAT and converts a good B school and is in the B school environment for the next 2 years and is learning there from his peers, from his professors, and when he gets into the market, he has a big playing field for him, wherein he has a lot to contribute and learn for himself. So this is all like arguably the best year to take the CAT. Yeah.
So I guess the next question is, people actually end up reading a lot of newspapers and novels just for the preparation of VARC in different sections, end up solving Sudokus in newspapers for the DILR. According to you, what is the ideal way to prepare for all those sections, and in a detailed way, so you can...
Right. So first of all, there is no exact or ideal way for preparation because it depends on person to person. So coming to English first, which is called VARC in the CAT language. So VARC is more of solving reading comprehensions, or what we commonly say as unseen passages, which involves reading a long comprehension and then trying to make sense out of it and then answer questions. And it is followed by a VA portion, which is verbal ability, which incorporates para jumbles and summary type questions. So for that, if one has a time frame of like 1 year to prepare for his CAT, so then he should ideally start by reading newspaper and reading novels on a daily basis. This is not to get into touch with GK or something. This is to increase your reading habit and reading speed, because on the day of CAT you are expected to read around 3000 words in 30 minutes. So you have to have that speed, and also to make sense out of it, you have to solve questions. So questions can be from any source, like from any coaching institute or from last year papers. So those things are there, and then if one has like 2 or 3 months to prepare, like the situation is right now, so this is not the time to read newspapers or novels. This is the time to practice questions only. Like from now on, you have to like look out for tricks and tips to answer the questions and various nuances of how to answer them. And the VA part involves reading the thing very very passionately and then try to make sense, and it's only common sense that will help you answer those questions. So it's no bookish knowledge. Right, so vocabulary plays a big role, but then not so much, because CAT is not an exam that tests you on vocabulary. It has a few words that if you are aware of will help you a lot. If you are not, you will be able to anyway make sense from the sentence itself. So it's not so important to have a good vocabulary, and one should not be afraid of those big words because they do not test you on that. You can anyways make sense out of those words from the sentence itself. So yeah. And then coming to the LR DI part, So LRDI is basically a test of your understanding and of your logical thought flow. So they give you questions like sitting arrangements or family trees and direction based questions. So you do not need to prepare anything exactly from a book per se. You just need to solve questions. You are expected to know a few simple things like days in a month or number of leap years after normal years, and like those things. And apart from that, it's all about logic. You have to know your numbers, you have to know ratios, percentages. One tip that I would like to share upon here is, like I also did this during my preparation, is one should be well versed with the squares, the cubes, the ratios, and of the first 20 numbers at least. Excuse me. So those things, and apart from that, DILR is all practice. And also this is the make and break section of the CAT, because people generally find it tough to score in this section. So if you are able to score here well, it takes your overall score to a new high. And then coming to maths, which is called QA, so it is an engineer's delight because we are all engineers and we all love to solve maths. So going by that only, you have to just brush up on your academics from class 10th, from your concept from class 10th, and it's all easy and merry from on there. And you have to just have to practice enough so that you are aware of all the question types, which are also not much. We just have probability, algebra, geometry, and arithmetic, all of class 10th level only. You just need to learn to solve them in a faster manner, and for that there are many tricks that any book and any institute can teach you easily. So QA should be a cakewalk, or so to say, but then not a cakewalk because somebody can falter in that. So QA should be, as I said, an engineer's delight.
Okay. So that's pretty much it. We'll be wrapping the interview. There's a last segment which is mandatory for every talk show apparently on the planet. That's called the rapid fire. We'll not be asking you any personal questions. We'll be asking you some questions regarding the CAT preparation only, and some regarding your personal likings. So we'll start. The first question is, which is your favorite dream company?
Okay, my dream company would be Goldman Sachs because I am targeting investment banking.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your apart from finance, what would be your favorite branch of like marketing or operations?
Okay, so apart from finance, I would like to second specialize general management, which involves the leadership roles that come to a B school for placement. These roles are very good in terms of learning opportunities, and eventually help to develop into leaders.
Okay. So the next thing is if you get selected for the student exchange program and you are allowed to go in any college on the planet, which college you'll prefer, apart from Harvard, obviously?
Okay, so I would prefer to get into B school in Europe, preferably in Paris, because Paris is a very beautiful city.
Right.
And apart from that, Paris has the best possible B school in the world, which is EdHEC. So if I have to choose one of my dreams in that matter, I would like to choose EdHEC Paris for my exchange study.
Yeah, sure. If you're given a chance again, will you be willing to drop the year for IIM Ahmedabad or some big college or maybe foreign colleges, or you'll be staying with IIM Calcutta?
No. I do not think that IIM Calcutta and Ahmedabad has anything different to offer.
Okay.
They are basically the same solutions that have different names. So nobody should take the decision of dropping IIM Calcutta for Ahmedabad.
Foreign universities like Harvard or something.
Foreign universities are a good option, I would say, but then I have a profile which says I am a BTech from a state college with 7% 70 GPA. I don't think I have a good chance over there.
Okay.
And apart from that, I want to learn and study in the Indian context only, and I want to work in India. So for that, IIM Calcutta is one of the best options.
That's very reasonable. Yeah, that'll wrap the interview. Thank you for having the discussion with us. Thank you for providing us with your time. And hopefully you enjoyed this interview. What is the experience like?
Yeah, thank you so much, Ganesh, for this opportunity. And apart from that, I would like to suggest one thing to all aspirants and all students that are studying in their BTech right now, that they believe in yourself and believe in your dreams, because everything is bound to happen. If you work for it, it is bound to happen. So believe in yourself. That is the main motto. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, sir. Maybe you'll be probably willing to say this, like, share and subscribe, because you're on a YouTube channel for now.
Okay, so everybody, please also like, share, subscribe this channel. He's doing an amazing job by interviewing us, and getting you people to know the insights of preparation.
Yeah, thanks a lot, sir. That'll be wrapping the interview. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.